What's the Zoom without some technical issues?
A good little point to kind of catch up. So obviously, like, I spoke to Alicia last week and it was all about prep, like literally all about prep. And then this, like, for you, it's like you've had the opposite struggles with the push up. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of go over kind of like where we started when you came to me, and you're obviously kind of at the back end of the hefty deficit, very strict deficit, strict meal plan. And then it was kind of like on top of that was the layers of also having the issues with the
health
hormones.
stuff. Fun.
Because when we sat down for one of our first chats and you were sort of like, I get these horrendous periods, but you know, and I was just like, the more you told me about these periods, it was like, okay, no, like this is not going to work. Like,
no,
we can't move forward with this, like, until we sort this. So yeah, I feel like definitely. So this week is your 25th check-in, so it's literally been 6 months. Yeah.
That's mad.
Yeah, of graft and pushing, and now we're obviously like in prep. So yeah,
I don't think it's sunk in yet. It's not sunk in yet that I'm in prep.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel real, because when you do things properly and you like start with a coach like early on, and then you then transition into a prep like with that coach, it's like you're just continuing, really. Everything's the same, like the plan's the same. You know, obviously potentially a couple of exercises have been switched, but like ours hasn't, like nothing's changed in your plan yet.
No.
It's literally just like your food gets dropped a bit and you crack on. So it's like, it's just like the same week, really. Just, you know, every other week. I
feel like doing my first lot cardio was like, okay, shit's starting to get real, and it was way harder than what it should have been. I was like, wow, I don't know, it's been so long since I've been on a Stairmaster, like so long. I've obviously been doing steps but not doing any cardio, so I've gone from hammering Stairmaster, and I mean absolutely hammering it last summer, and being like absolutely flying on it, to then getting on it and being like, oh, this feels hard again. But I'll soon adjust to doing it. I remember climbing up it and just being like, oh, I can't believe I used to do this, like to the extreme that I did, because obviously I've just gotten out of the habit of adding that cardio in. But it's exciting at the same time. When I got on that Stairmaster, I was like, right, like prep is officially here. So it's exciting.
So like obviously you was, like you said, hammering stairs last summer, so like where were we at then? Talk through the situ.
So I signed up to do, I think was meant to be a 12-week, maybe 16-week plan, which turned into like a 20+ week plan because I got COVID and it lengthened it. But I was going on holiday, I wanted to like lose weight, whatever. Got a coach, and I was by the end of my plan, I was on cardio 5 times a week, and I had a choice of either doing intervals on the stairs or interval sprints. Calorie, I couldn't even tell you where my calories were. They were low, and I was just following a meal plan. And it's weird that it just kind of just all really become normal. I was exhausted though, and I hit a point where I'd stopped dropping. So my scale weight was just staying the same, and I remember being really frustrated that it wasn't going down any further. I think in that last 2 weeks of being on the plan previously, I didn't actually make any. My body didn't really make any changes. Went on holiday, got back, and binged for a few weeks. Just ate shit, and then saw you in the gym. I was like, and then it was that jump to then pushing my calories back up. And it's weird because I'd been dieting, I think part of my brain thought that it was going to be super easy pushing calories up because I was so ready to eat food. I'd not eaten any, I'd been eating properly for so long. I thought, oh, this is fantastic, macros, you know, like choosing my own food again and eating loads of food. But the reality of it was that I found it incredibly challenging. So it's weird how I thought it was going to be super easy because I'd gone from being so restricted. But I think going from being so restricted to being quite free with relatively free with a lot of calories. I actually just think it was just overwhelming, and I just struggled. I was either like not hitting the right macros but getting all the calories in, or struggling to get the calories in and doing an all right job with macros. I just kind of never really managed to find that balance with it. But I think it's just because I was on such a strict diet plan for a good length of time. I kind of
like with you, it did take time, like, to get you eating more. Like, obviously my goal was to get your calories bumped quite high, because you showed me that meal plan you were on, and it was not just low calories, but it was like the restriction in the sense of like the meals weren't really meals. It was like weird stuff, like a tin of tuna with, I don't know, like something
random
really
stuff
with tuna, or just, it wasn't really meals. And I was like, Christ,
no,
it
was like 3 random pieces of turkey bacon here, and like
like just on their own, like
just a bit of yogurt there, and it was a weird plan.
I was just like,
become like the norm as well. Even though it's like, it's weird that I showed it to you, and I was like, you was like, whoa, and I was like, oh, I thought it was just normal for trying to cut down, like, but so
it's like I just wanted to get you like eating more, but it did take longer than like I anticipated, just because you were like struggling.
I didn't anticipate either, really. Like I said, like I was genuinely like, oh, it's great, like food, I'm not even eating that much, and then
and then in the end we realized, didn't we, that just like macros didn't really work for you.
And I much prefer my meal plan. Like I feel so much better. I think I am a person that likes structure and like guidance, and like, I don't know, not that I can't be flexible, but I just, especially when I've got a goal in mind, I'd rather it just be like, just give me it and let me follow it. And I've done so much better with the meal plan. I would rather, like, even eating the same things is not, I just don't mind it. I really prefer it. I thrive better with the meal, which is strange. I suppose some people prefer tracking, and sometimes plan works better. And for me, plan just works.
Everyone is different, and it's always like, that's why it's just a question that I always ask, because it's like some people genuinely just prefer a meal plan, and like the thought of macros is just stressful anyway, like having to like every day be like, oh god, I just want to crack on, and I've got to like work it all out and stuff. People just want a plan to just, this is how my day's going to run, and I'm happy with the meal, so I don't mind. I always just say, like, obviously with a meal plan, like, because you've got your macros set out for each meal, there's always scope to be like, okay, I'm out and about, and I could maybe like go to Pret and get a sandwich and track it in, and then if I've gone like off plan that day, I can still track based on the macros, so you're still not going off plan. But that's the only problem with a meal plan, is when people feel restricted because they're doing things, and it's like, that's also not an excuse to like actually go off plan. If you're out and about or something crops up, you can still stick to your macros for the day, and it won't make any odds, really. But like, now that you've started a prep, it is a little bit different anyway, because not everyone can do an Alicia and just track through an entire prep on a first ever prep. Like,
hats off to her. Like, honestly, I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. But
I tracked but like that was after having like a year on a plan, like a full year on like a meal plan, and at that point I was like, oh, I can't wait to just track and be a bit more flexible. But and I'd done obviously like a few little preps after, like, before, so I felt quite like seasoned, whereas it's like for a first time I was like, good for you.
She's done good, so good, but I much prefer
just like smashing your plan now, and I
enjoy
anything, or I'm like, yep, okay, I know exactly what she's eating all week, and now we can just crack on with making changes. And I think we've got you in such a good spot, like, since obviously where you were, like we know like little things now, like when your cycles are coming round, and just little stuff, like last week when you had like the antibiotics that you were on, and we were like, right, why your weight's like not moved, and it's just being able to,
it makes it easier to identify like what little things might come in. Nice mug, by the way. Yeah, it makes it easier to identify.
Our clients just like buying me mugs, obviously. This is my favourite mug from you.
I love it. Yeah, it makes it easier to identify. Like, I knew with the antibiotic, and I know that I've got like, even Will was commenting actually of how well like my gut has been on this plan, and I think that's another thing about plan that works for my body is my body then starts to get used to what I'm putting in it, because
Yeah.
I'm really sensitive to any kind of changes. So like if I start adding something in that I've not had for a long time, no matter what it is, I can be like a little bit sensitive to it. So because I've been eating the same things, my body's just responding so well because it's just used to what's going in. So I think that definitely helps a lot. And then with the antibiotic, I knew that was the only thing that could be potentially upset my stomach, and they have a tendency to do that anyway, to upset, you know, give people nausea and whatnot. So it was just obvious, you know, it's obvious that was what was causing the bloating and stuff like that. But I suppose that's the beauty of where we've got things. I feel like we're both in a really good spot to like identify like what is potentially happening, just because we're so aware of the big picture, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And this is why I say to people, you know, just don't start a prep with a new coach. Like, if you want to prep, like, work with that coach for a few months, because when you're in prep, it's very important to be able to know exactly what's going on, because like you can't waste weeks and days and stuff. And if you don't know, you know that client's body really well, you're both kind of stuck. You shouldn't be figuring things out in a prep, you know, you should be on it.
100%. Yeah. And that this time is just, we've fine-tuned so much and ironed out all the little niggles and things, I think. And that's like credit to you, like the relationship that we have as coach, you being my coach is a massive part to play in it. My previous coach, I remember like not taking things to her, or not mentioning everything, or kind of brushing certain things off. Like I was struggling with my cycle whilst I obviously have for a year, and I was with the previous coach, and it would kind of just get dismissed, or kind of like, oh, you know, you just got to dig in, you just got to push through, we all have bad periods kind of thing, when really there was something bigger going on. And obviously with then working with you, it's going to be a completely different experience, and being like, well, no, something's not right and we need to find out what it is and get it fixed. And here we are, not that far on, and we've made massive changes. So I think it just goes to show, like, you need to be comfortable and happy with who you're working with, and trust them, and be able to tell them things, and not feel like you've got to hold something back because you don't know how they're going to take it or whatever. And I think my last experience of coaching was more like, oh, I daren't tell her that this has happened, or I daren't say that I've not been able to train because my period was so bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, let's delve into that then, because obviously that was a big thing. Like, literally, people don't understand what you mean when you say you had bad periods. But yeah, when you were telling me about like generally barely being able to leave the house, it was like, okay, we can't be having like every 3 weeks you kind of not physically being able to get to the gym. So yeah, like, what was that like?
Tough. And I mean, really, really tough, especially when you can't find, because my moods would two massive things obviously happening. Because my emotionally and mentally impacted by the change in hormones, the physical symptoms that I was obviously getting whilst being on my period. But in some sense, like even now, I think if I'm feeling like fatigued, or if the strength is not there, can I still be getting to the gym and doing X, Y, and Z? But with the mental side of things and the emotional side of things, when my anxiety would get to a point where I couldn't go out of the house, like, I'm not exaggerating, I couldn't leave my own house. I'd be like fearful of like leaving the house, just feeling like I couldn't get out there, skin crawling anxiety. But this isn't something that I kind of navigate on a day-to-day basis. It's not something that I live with. So I could tell very much that it was hormone related. When you're getting anxiety that feels like a switch is just being flipped, and all of a sudden you can't live in your own skin properly, the bit of my brain that was like, you know, at least, you know, it's not you as such, and it's something in, you know, it's hormones affecting how you're feeling, that it helped knowing that a little bit, because you do feel like you're going crazy. I remember just feeling like I'm going crazy, like, you're fine 3 weeks of the month, and for 1 week of the month you cannot even dress yourself properly, and it's just, I can't even, the word that I'm struggling to kind of express and find the words to explain how severe like my anxiety was getting, and how severe my mood drop would be. I just wasn't like going to the gym it just wasn't an option, because even kind of getting up, getting dressed, making food was hard enough. Like I work flexibly, thank goodness. I wasn't going to work, sorry, for a full week of the month, because I couldn't even get to work properly. So something was seriously off, and I think it was getting slightly worse with each period that I was having. And then there's the physical symptoms: migraines, lightheadedness, weakness, pins and needles sensation, just like all those kind of horrible enhanced symptoms. That I get that women get a bit of cramping, lower backache, but when it's to the point where you're bedbound for however, that week, and even the simplest tasks feel like an absolute slog. It was just draining, but it would get to 7 to 10 days, and then my body would just pick back out of it, and I'd crack on again. But like you said, I was losing a week, a month, and when you've got goals to be competing, you just every single second counts, every minute of the day counts. Getting your steps in, the time you got to get your steps in, the time you've got to get your meals in, the time you got to get training in, every minute counts. And to lose 10 days of the month is just not an option at all. Not for anyone. Like, forget even if you were competing, but to you can't function that way. So we're in a really tricky place, really, trying to get it all sussed out. But then the blood work happened, and we started to get on top of things and figure out exactly what was going on. So prolactin levels crazy high, and there were a couple of other things I can't even think off the top of my head what exactly came back now. But obviously supplementing things now that I wasn't before, and feeling a million times better. I could even say to her, like, oh my goodness, like this whole month I've just done a whole month, which is just, it's the most bizarre thing to kind of say. As I said, saying to Will, like, a couple of days ago, like, last month was such a good month. I got everything done. I think with each month that goes by now, my body's just getting better and better. And like you said before, we're learning a bit more about how I respond and how I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why I know you was trying to get help from your GP and stuff, but it wasn't really going your way. And I just said, literally, let's just get some actual, like, just pay to get some blood work done, and get it done properly, and get a full hormonal panel. And it was that, wasn't it? Then when the hormone panel came back, and it was, the prolactin was well out of whack,
way high, so high.
Yeah, which is like it sort of works against dopamine. So it was like that was causing the drops in moods. So it was like, okay, now we know. Like
now we know what's going on.
The obvious.
I was even like, when I was having my periods, you get really, really high temperatures, like feverish, like a temperature of 38, like waking up dripping with sweat temperatures, which again is a result of having crazy high prolactin levels. So then physically, because I was running temperature on and off, like your body does get tired and drained and dehydrated. And if you're dehydrated, you are going to start getting headaches and migraines, and you are going to feel achy. And so it all just kind of made sense. Like, finally I'd battled with my GP, who just wasn't taking anything seriously, to then just going, having some bloods done, seeing exactly what was what, low folate as well, which is linked to fatigue. And it was just shone a light really on it. Everything just made sense.
And it's just something like one of those things where I guess people just, obviously probably not as severe as you necessarily, but even just people with like getting these like moods or like really bad periods, like you could just get your bloods done. Like it's like a small one-off expense, and it's your health, and it could be a game changer if you just get those results and realize what's going on. And obviously if you're prepping and stuff as well anyway, it's the best thing to do. Like, you've got a second lot of bloods done, haven't you, obviously, and from when you first got them to then get them done again to check that things were kind of going better after all the supplementation. And so now we've kind of had recent bloods before your prep, so it's like, okay, now obviously we'll get them done again after and check everything and make sure that you're still okay. And sometimes obviously post prep you're not okay. Like I got my bloods done like within the week after I stopped like my season in October, and it was funny how people were messaging me like, do natural athletes get tested too? And I'm thinking, so you're assuming that I'm enhanced because I'm getting a blood test? Like actually it's just really sensible for everyone to get the blood done after a prep. Like with like any natural athlete, like you've literally just hammered your body, and your hormones are going to be so far out of whack, you know, just from the severe dieting. You know, your thyroid hormones tend to be completely out of whack after you've like messed with them and stuff like this. So it's like everyone really should be getting them done. And luckily for me, mine came back like just absolutely perfect. And I was like, okay, nothing to worry about.
That is good though. Yeah. I think even supplementing B12, like which I hadn't before, and I think I didn't realize just like I've been functioning so much better on just a day. Like it's almost like I didn't realize that my energy levels were lacking in any way, just not even just on my cycle, I mean just generally. I've had much more energy since supplementing B12, which I would never really have thought to have done if it wasn't for going to get bloods checked out. Because sometimes you just think, if you feel well in yourself, you don't always necessarily think that you need to be taking or doing anything if you feel relatively well. It just goes to show, thought I was relatively well and feeling fine, but I feel even better now having supplemented something. So just think, go and get them, go get yourself checked. And even if it's just a case of you needing to supplement something around your cycle, which obviously I had to chat with Chris about whether it was worth coming regularly to have like IV drips or just having a specific supplementation around the time of my periods to just bring energy levels up or whatever it is. So if anyone's even tiny bit struggling with their cycle, I would say to go get your bloods done around that time. See, because you there are a lot of changes happening in your body at that time. See what's going on for you, and see if there's just anything that you can be doing around that time just to make it easier for you.
Yeah.
Why not? It's your health. So yeah.
Yeah. So like moving into a different topic, just like obviously it's always interesting to know like what gets someone into bodybuilding. Obviously you've got a slightly more interesting little story of why you knew about bodybuilding for many years / forever. So, go on.
Yeah, both my parents competed. My dad, he might not have had the best physique in the world, but he just loved it. He just loved getting on stage. He loved the community. He loved training. He just had a true passion for it. He never took it too seriously though, which, you know, each to their own. He kind of never really had a winning physique, but he just loved it, thrived off it. So he's always competed, and so has my mum. So they used to train at the same gyms together, and they know each other from being in and out of the gyms. My mum used to do like security and stuff like that, which my dad was into as well. But my mum was a lot more competitive, and she did really well. So I remember seeing, like, from being a gym, I was like 5, 6, seeing my mum's bodybuilding pictures up in like my grandma's house, and we used to like shove little cushions up my jumper and like stand next to my mum's picture, like doing my double bicep, and just I always just remember looking at him and just being in awe of her. Like, I can't believe that's my mum. I've just always been into the gym just because she has. So I remember sitting in that image when I was like 7 and watching my mum train. Back in the day, sitting and watching her and be like, can I do that? And she was just sit down, and she just she used to love it. And I've always been into the gym, just because I suppose it's what I was brought up around.
Yeah.
So I've always loved it. I've always lifted. I've like done so many like gym sessions with my mum. I've done training with my dad. It's always been in the gym from being using the school gym at high school, and then as soon as I was old enough to get a membership at like a leisure centre gym, signed up at like Plenty Leisure Centre and just used their gym, and then moved up to Pure Gyms. Finally started training Altered, now Ultraflex. It's interesting to see like my own like training evolution, if you like, kind of like going from the little leisure centre gym and just enjoying it, not really know what I'm doing. Always paid coaches, always had PT coaches, because it's just what I love. I just always enjoyed it. I'm passionate about it. it's always been good for my mental health. Yeah. So it's nice now. My mum's super excited for me, super excited. And it's nice to think that I might have my little picture up next to my mum's. Quads night might not ever be as good as hers, but it'll be nice. It'll be nice to, I know that she's just super proud.
Yeah,
And it's nice to have a parent that really gets it
absolutely.
and pushes me, and she's an absolute monster in the gym, and I'm lucky to have both of them, both my mum and my dad. I'm lucky to have both parents fully appreciate what it's all about. But yeah,
Definitely.
exciting.
Yeah, like you said, you've always had coaches, so like you've basically been coached for like 7 years, something like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I had my first PT. I had my first PT when I was 16, nearly 17, and I used to go 4 times a week, which was like at the time, you know, I think I worked at like a retail like cosmetic counter. It was like probably 50% of my wage, but it didn't matter. I just loved it. I loved going. I used to do strength training and wasn't really bothered about the way that I looked, to be honest. I was more just wanted to be strong. So I
Yeah,
just used to lift, and I loved learning how to really engage my muscles and work on form and stuff like that. And then I think the only reason I stopped with that PT was because they moved on, and so I just got another one, and I was with them for a while. And I've just always had. I can't imagine not having a coach. Can't imagine not having a PT. I just think just for the accountability and having like a cheerleader in your corner as well. And I think, yeah, to me it just makes sense. It's
yeah, I
such a big
agree.
part.
You
I
know,
just
I've tried to like obviously not have one like after this last like season I did, and just didn't go well. You just, you know, you just left to your own devices. You're never gonna like perform as well. And yeah, like I look forward to my weekly check-ins as well. You know, it's my time, like my
yeah,
check-in.
yeah, hell
I
yeah,
look forward to like the video that I get back from
yeah.
my coach and like telling me that I've like done this and that, or what changes we're gonna make. And it's like I don't have to worry
Exciting.
about myself and make those decisions. It's just someone else is telling me to do it, and I'm like, and you know, it's yeah, it's just
It is a good
exciting.
feeling. And it's just I think everyone should have whatever it is. I think everyone should just have that thing for themselves,
Yeah,
like that treat to themselves, that thing that they get a buzz for. Everyone should have it, and I think yeah, in whatever form that is. I think for me, it's just always been having someone oversee my training and my diet and things like that. Um, yeah, I've always just lived for it. But
yeah,
yeah,
love it. I'm so
I
glad that
love
you
it.
like bumped into me that day and
I
all.
know. I literally, it's mad. I followed you for. I've had so many different Instagram accounts, and it's funny that there's like when I set up a new account, for whatever reason, you guys like there's just like I have like there's like a list of people, like not a long list, that I would always just instantly follow, and you've been one of them. So like I've always been like, oh, like Emily, like find your account to follow off this new account, and I've always since your first bikini show, I think
Yeah,
I've pretty much followed you since just before then. And then when I bumped into you in the gym in altered image, I literally, mom, mom, that's Emily. And then the rest is history. Yeah.
yeah.
Mad.
I think we trained together,
Yeah.
didn't we? I was like, oh,
Yeah.
you should come and do a
And I
session.
was like,
And like
really?
at the end of the session, you were like, so can you coach
So
me?
oh,
you,
literally. It
you've
was
been
mad.
thinking for a while about competing before then, I guess. You were like what, like at what point were you like, I want to compete?
I think it's really strange. Like it's always been this dream. So like it's almost like from seeing my mum, seeing pictures of my mum and seeing her train, and then since being in the gym, I've always followed bodybuilders on Instagram. I was like just had like a connection to the bodybuilding community, but just kind of from a distance. And I've seen it as this thing that was like, I'd love to do that, but I don't know if I can. Like I didn't even consider ever actually doing it, but I had a dream to do it. Like I would love to do that. I think it was just more self-confidence and self-belief. Like, could I actually do that? I'm not sure. And then I suppose I I don't even know what that moment was where that it just, my dream then turned into a goal, and I was like, I'm gonna do this. I just need to help me do it, kind of thing. Like I don't know what that moment was where I just made the leap, but I can honestly say hand on heart, like my sister, I keep having like chats with my sister about competing, and because I have like little moments of doubt and like perfections, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be good enough. And my sister was like, you will, but even like no matter what, why should you not go smash? This is your dream. Like you can honestly, even she knows it's something that I've dreamt doing. She's like, get up there and do it. Like,
Yeah.
why not? Why can you not? So I think I don't know when it became a goal, but now it's like I've never wanted something so bad than to just like step on that stage and give it everything. And I think it's exciting, and it means, I don't know, I don't think I've ever really had a goal as big as what this feels to me. If that makes sense. But it has something that I've always dreamt of. And then I think, to be honest, I think meeting you in person in the gym, because I've never actually, until I came to your show, is actually the first bodybuilding show that I've ever physically watched in person. So I've watched them on like Instagram lives and like paid to see them, like watch certain shows on online, or like caught up on people's YouTube, like some of the pros YouTubes and stuff like that, but never physically been and met any athletes in person and never seen a show. And I think meeting you in the gym, it's like, no, I think meeting you and then being able to chat with you and be like, yeah, like I think you're absolutely phenomenal, an amazing athlete, and be like, she's just been stood there like in front of me, and she's just a person like I am with a goal like I could have. And then I thought I can do it, like fucking do it. And I swear you said to me, it's like, oh, have you thought of competing? And I was like, inside, I was like, yeah, I have. Like, help me. So I think to be honest, the more and more I think about it, I think meeting you in person and getting the chance to actually speak to someone who was actively doing it, like pick your brains. I think I was like, yeah, I want to turn this into an actual goal and start working towards doing it.
Nice to know. That's at the time I was like very deep in prep as well. So
Where, yeah,
you can kind of see that I was still like, I was all right. You know, like you're still functioning, and like just cracking on with your session.
Like an absolute machine.
It's hard, but it's like you're enjoying it.
Yeah, 100%. I was sat on the leg extension like opposite you. You was training like an absolute machine. I was thinking, right, Jade, like you no excuses. You're in the place in front of a real bodybuilder now. You need to make sure you're doing this, executing the form and these curls like in the presence of a bodybuilder. But yeah, I think that was probably, well, it was, yeah, definitely the turning point for me to be like, I'm gonna do this. Now here we are.
No, here we are indeed. I think we
I know.
we did eventually manage to push your food up, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a decent level. Now we're not like struggling.
It'll only get better with the time.
Yeah.
I do it.
Well, we've got like a long prep. You're not competing until September, so it was just kind of, I think we were in a spot where it was like, we're just pushing for the sake of it now. Like, you're gonna just gain unnecessary body fat at this point.
Yeah.
Your body composition is going to go too far.
And I was feeling it. I was definitely feeling it.
I know you were, and it's like there's a point where you've got to kind of not like ignore your athlete, but also just be like, I know the feels, like, you know, that this is what needs to be done though, like this is bodybuilding, like it's not like a sort of like a lifestyle client where like it's sort of like almost not fair to kind of get them too kind of chunky because there's not really a need, if that makes sense. But like when it's like kind of like especially a pre-prep situation, it's like we are pushing for the sake of you being able to like diet on higher calories pretty much. And just to like honestly just to gain as much muscle as we can. And I'm not saying that you need to be like putting on loads of body fat for that to happen or be in a massive surplus, but it does help. So it's just kind of like we've got a short window here. You know what, we started in September, and it was just kind of like from you being on such a low like caloric intake and trying to like build it up and stuff, it was like we just need to crack on and really go for it. So yeah, I was impressed with the way that you kind of just took to it and just kind of
yeah,
constantly go on and on about like, oh, I feel like, you know, fat or whatever.
Do you know, it's weird because like I look back on some of my pictures and I think, oh, he looks really chunky. And even like when I was in the gym or like taking a selfie or whatever, I'm like, oh, he looks chunky. But
You were fine at the time.
but
You
yeah,
fine.
well,
That's why you took the
it's
selfie.
weird, like it's so weird. Like I still took the selfies and like I don't ever remember like there was maybe like a couple, like literally a couple of times where I might have felt a little bit bloated. But generally speaking, I didn't feel. I can't even say I felt uncomfortable. Like there might have been like a couple, like I said, like maybe a couple of moments where like I might have been a bit bloated and felt a bit uncomfortable, put an oversized t-shirt on. But I was still training in like my sports bras and like my leggings and feeling. I don't even know. I don't know necessarily whether I was feeling myself, but I definitely wasn't feeling uncomfortable or like I don't know. You know, I just I don't really think of it. I was just cracking on and just, yeah.
Got goals. You gotta get on with it.
Yeah, it was all right.
But yeah, there was a kind of, I feel like there was like a ceiling point of no return where it was like, yeah, we need to stop this now.
Yeah, I remember like there were like 2 check-ins and I looked back on them and I was like, oh, I'm ready to start cutting because this is getting, I don't know.
And it's just like, you know, the more time.
But it was just at the right time though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we literally, it was just at the right time that we was like on that same wavelength. Like I feel like I felt it and you could see it, and then it was like now's the time to.
Yeah,
because it wasn't like. Yeah, it wasn't like 6 weeks before. It was like, oh, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable, Emily. Like I really want to start cutting. It was like we almost like at the same time. It's like what 1 or 2 check-ins, and I was like, yeah, right, okay.
Yeah.
It's time.
We were going to wait till about April time, and you probably have about a 20-something, 24-week prep maybe. But then we just was like, I was just like, let's start 6 weeks earlier and have like, it's a 30-week prep, but it's like, we won't be like dieting harshly or down during that time. And there's more than likely going to be like a diet break in the middle, and that's fine. Like, so we're just kind of pulling down now, seeing how far we can get. And then, you know, there'll be room in the middle for a diet break and just kind of like a reset. There'll be room for a deload as well, obviously. Like some preps, people like don't generally deload on a prep. They just train all the way through and just crack on. Just keep going. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to have a week off training when I'm in a prep, you know. But we'll like most certainly be having one at some point. Well, of course we will, 30 weeks. So yeah, it's like, it's not going to be this intense like 30-week, you know, like doing all this crazy stuff for 30 weeks. It's going to be slow and steady.
Nice and steady. Yeah.
I
think I'm mentally like that approach just feels nice.
Yeah, there's no rush. There's no like, oh my God, we've got like 18 weeks and it's like every week needs to be like weight drops and, you know, we need to be seeing like, you know, this huge changes and stuff, and just kind of, you know, it's like, and we did have a couple of weeks in the beginning anyway where we were finding your kind of buffer, didn't we?
Yeah.
You weren't dropping straight away, and it was like, well, we're not we're not where we need to be for your like deficit yet to start dropping.
That was such an interesting process.
Yeah.
For me, because I've never, it was really interesting because it just felt like I was maintaining. I think I went up a little bit at one point, which was really weird. And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh, I've just checked in and I'm 2 kg down.
Yeah.
It felt like all of a sudden, it felt like, it felt weird because I thought, it doesn't feel like prep started because my body weight is like not playing like game. I remember just being like, oh, like what am I doing wrong, or like what's happening? But I was like, I'm just gonna follow it religiously and just trust that this is gonna work. Because I think that, and that's, I don't know about anyone else in prep, but if there's time to like, not that you, not in any way doubt you, more that I'm following it and thinking for myself, like, shit, like, why isn't my body responding as it should be? Why is this not happening? And not want to take things into your own hands. So I don't know what I actually would have done, but maybe like in my mind be thinking, oh, I've now got 2 rice cakes on my plan, but I've not dropped for 2 weeks, and I just wonder whether I should just not have the rice cakes. And I just remember having like these little thoughts, like, gosh, like there's 200 grams of potato, like, but I didn't drop last week, like, should I have 250? And I remember being like, well, that's just not the point, is it, Jade? And I never would have done that. I think, but there's just becomes this point where it's like, I have to just follow this religiously and trust that, and whatever happens, if Emily knows exactly what I've been doing, then she can tell me where and what needs to be done next. And I think there was a point in that when you said it was finding that buffer, where I was like, right, you've just got to trust the process. Like, as much as you hear people say it over and over again, I feel like there's a moment for you when that actually happens. And mine was in that period where we were starting out. I was like, right, yeah, you've just got to trust.
Yeah, because it's almost like the fact that you've got a longer diet, it's like you've got the luxury of allowing your body to like prime for a diet. So you just pull out some calories, you just drop. So you're not suddenly slashing calories and feeling really hungry.
Slashing calories,
cool, you'll drop weight straight away. But we don't need to drop weight straight off the bat. We've got 30 weeks. So it's kind of like prime the body.
Yeah, you're so right.
And when it's ready, we'll drop into that deficit. Like, what did I do? I removed like a teaspoon of like peanut butter or something.
Literally, like,
oh, okay. Then we drop, but like your body's had a couple of weeks just to kind of adapt to like lower food without actually having to feel starving. You know, like if you're going into like any kind of aggressive diet, like calories get dropped like off the bat, and you feel you're on a diet straight away. So yeah,
it's nice. It's nice. Like, obviously Cardi's just gone in, and my mum, my sister, Will, over like even before the cardio got added, was like, oh, I can see that you're starting to tighten up. Like, I can see your physique changing. That's like the most amazing thing. So like when the people around you can kind of see it, and you know that you've not even started doing cardio yet, and you're not hungry, and like you can't. What more could you want? Like, I was buzzing when even like some of my leggings are fitting differently already, and it's a nice feeling.
It all comes together, trust me.
Trust the process.
Just the process. Exactly. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's good. I mean, I don't know how long we've been talking, but
exciting.
That was kind of what I wanted to cover, really. Just like you and your just the journey so far, I suppose, from the crazy periods and the off season gaining and just cracking on, and now we're in prep.
I already feel like I've come so far. Just in obviously overcoming some of those little hurdles. I'm gonna be blubbering on stage, just that the journey, and
like when you came to me, it was like, this person is like not in a position to do a prep. I was like, I can't imagine prepping with these periods and stuff, like the way they are, and this like crazy fatigue, and I felt like you just had all these other little niggly illnesses and little things coming in, and it was just like
I was like, no. But now
now we're prepping out of Ultraflex Normanton, like I can't say about that. And it literally everyone in Ultraflex Leeds is literally like, they'll go to Normanton for like a day pass and be like, I thought it was good, but I just want to be in Normanton all the time. And it's like,
that's my dream. Literally, that was a fab thing as well. Obviously, getting to experience Normanton and settle in there. Different gym coaches, you can tell that you've evolved when you're able to do that, even though it's just a small thing. Like, moving out of budget gyms is a big deal.
It is.
When it's all you've known, and readapting to kit and all that kind of stuff. So it's nice knowing that I'm training in such a good gym and I'm settled there, and it's all just routine, and it's good.
When you were like told me you were moving there, I was just like, okay. And then I had a bit of a field day with your programming, and I was like, I know I've trained there a few times, so I was like, I know what kit's in there. I'm gonna like put in like the Atlantis,
all the good stuff,
and like this, specific bits of kit. And then you were there like,
Oh, I was so overwhelmed the first time I went in. I nearly cried actually when it came out, just because I've never had that feeling before. The gym has always been my safe place. Like, I don't feel self-conscious. I don't feel like, and I get it. I get that some girls, describe those things, but I've never been someone to kind of not want to go into the free weight section, or like be nervous. I just walk in, I do my session, and I go, and I don't think anything of it. If anything, I feel at home when I'm there. So to kind of walk into a gym at this point in my training journey and feel overwhelmed and a bit, what's the word? What do I feel? A bit insecure and intimidated. It was alien to me, completely alien. So I had a little cry on the way home, but then I went back in when it was quieter and just familiarized myself with all the kit and where everything was, and started to like have to build that confidence, just chat to people. And now I'm glad that I stuck with it, and going because it's the best.
It's pretty decent.
It is.
Yeah.
No complaint.
No, I'm happy, but sure, I'll see you for a session there soon. But
yes.
Until then, we've got obviously Alicia's show next week.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good times ahead. Good times ahead indeed.
Excited to see effects.
Yeah, you get to see that, like, you know, you're basically just copying off Alicia, let's be honest. Like, she did a PCA first time, and then so are you, and then she's got the extra. It's basically, it's like, and it's good though, because it's basically like you're seeing what your shows are going to be like, pretty much, like the standards and stuff, and
get some quicker brains. Yeah,
so it's great. Great for you.
That is so good. I'm so glad that you've had another client going through prep and shows and stuff, because it just gives me so much insight as well. It just makes me feel like I'm even better prepared.
The fact that you guys just like bonded, I was like,
and we're literally besties now as well, so I've got to thank you for the new amazing person I've got in my life. She's amazing. But
too much. I think you guys are like training this week, is that right?
Yes, so we're going to muscle, I want to say unit, but
is it the one in Barnsley?
Muscle fusion.
Oh, where are you going? Like where? Like
it's in Barnsley or Sheffield.
Muscle unit then.
It's one of them. Something like that. It's muscle something.
If
muscle
it's
something in
unit, then that's a vibe. If it's Barnsley muscle unit,
I'm pretty sure it's Barnsley, because she's out that way, isn't she? So Chesterfield, Sheffield-ish.
That's
going out to come back. It's over that way. So
if you go there, it's pretty good. Like it's like Rob Taylor's gym, and he's like really nice as well. So
exciting.
Like you walk into his gym and he's like actually pleased to see you. I feel like you don't get that with like every gym. But he's like, oh,
yeah, you're right.
You're visiting my gym. I'm going to be polite and grateful and conversation.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? Like you feel like welcome and stuff. And obviously the kit's good, and it's like really really loud music, and especially if you go and he's training, which both times I've been, he's been training, so it's like training. It's like a bit of a rave going on while you're training.
I'm excited to see her as well. Little lean bean.
Literally.
I'm excited to see how she's doing. And
no, she's had a tiny bit of food. She was like, hopefully I'll get a refeed when I train lower with Jade, and I was like, I can't promise anything.
Don't promise that, but bless her.
Feel free to time your body for it then. Then maybe yes. But either way, I'm sure you'll push us through. So
we'll smash it. Yeah.
Well, you're both in prep now, actually, so you push each other through.
I know.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
Well, it's been good to catch up.
It has. You're literally the best. So just super appreciative of everything.
So am I. I'm so happy to be coaching you through your first prep. It's an honor. But yes, guess that's it. You've got a session coming up, haven't you? Yeah.
Cool. Literally heading now to get my upper push done.
Have you had some nice pre-workout food?
Well, I will. I'm just gonna have something. I think I've got my bagel, my Rice Krispie Squares bar.
Oh yeah.
And then which is fast becoming my new favourite session.
Excellent.
You enjoy it. Yeah. Well, we need to sort out doing a session at Ultraflex soon.
I know. Anytime.
Let's go get one done.
Need to figure out a time.
Yes, we'll sort something out, definitely. Thank you for this. It's been fun.
Yeah, it has been fun. I will see you definitely next Sunday. Yes.
Yes.
I'm not sure if my brows will be due an update at that point. I'm not sure.
Maybe a little tint. They look quite good actually.
Yeah, they always do. If you're in the Pudsey or / Morley area in Leeds,
hit me up.
Yeah, Jade's like brow queen, so.
Don't look at mine though. I need to do my own.
Oh.
Right. I will see you soon.
Yeah. Have a fantastic session.
Thank you.
Ciao.
See you later. Bye.